There's no better time than now to step up to the plate and create quality alternatives to what's out there, because what's out there is basically creating economic and cultural slavery.
We got to build, and not build for the sake of building. Build good things, build competitive things, build things that, are of value, that are good quality, and leave these holes behind, and just accept and embrace that the brands that you knew and loved growing up, be it on Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, Marvel, DC, He-Man, they've gone brand to brand and they're running them to the ground. Leave them behind. They're so corporate now. Leave it behind. And we build, and we compete with the.
Of course, it's important to acknowledge we're not just doing this to create a parallel economy for the fun of it. It's so we remain free.
When you start to see somebody cancel on social media and then their email service cancels, is there going to be something else? How about the bank? This is the new system the left wing is creating, and our left-wing corporate overlords are doing their best impression of Soviet-style censorship. If this insane left-wing crusade continues at the current pace, half of the country will be soon locked out entirely from the economy.
Now, there have always been some conspiracy about the consolidation of power, but it's no longer conspiracy, and you can actually see it in action. It's actually being boasted upon.
Companies like BlackRock and State Street and Vanguard. And what these companies do, Glenn, is that there's a concentration of capital, $20 trillion in the hands of just those three firms alone, that are effectively like the puppet masters behind the scenes. They're pulling the strings and effectively mandating through soft power that these companies adopt these one-sided political agendas. So is that the free market where companies are free to do what they want? Not quite. They're being told by a small concentrated group of actors that are actually doing favors for the government behind the scenes to direct the behaviors of corporate America. And I know that sounds conspiratorial. It is not a conspiracy theory. It's a reality hiding in plain sight. It's not even hiding because many of these institutions, these financial institutions, even boast about it.
Now, there are a lot of ways to create quality alternatives, and one of those, of course, is through education, because education is one of the top tools for economic slavery. Now, one way you can see that, of course, is in the increased cost of education versus other things along the way.
Did you know the average price of a car in 1980 was $7,000? Today, it's $47,000. That's an increase of 571%. But did you know the average cost of college from 1980 till today has increased, ready? 1,200%. Income's only $217, $220. Tuition for college is 1,200%, 1,000% more.
Now, Patrick mentions there are other professions, of course, where you're going to need an institution, like if you're going to become a doctor, lawyer, and so on. But he also mentions how Udemy is one of the popular alternatives to online courses. And who teaches those courses? People like me and you. Of course, we aren't replacing educational institutions by a long shot. We're actually just creating alternatives that are challenging them in a way they haven't been challenged before. Along the way, we're basically taking back education and making it something that propels us forward, rather than being another tool in the economic slavery machine. Taking back the education into our own hands basically helps us redefine ourselves, create community, and at the same time create profits, which basically propel the parallel economy forward. In many ways, the education system is making itself obsolete, and that couldn't be more true than with the content that they basically teach.
They can't move at the speed of innovation. Their curriculum is behind 5-10 years, and it's constantly catching up, and we're moving faster. So that's out the window. You need to learn courses. Like, imagine like reading a social media textbook from 9 years ago. Would it make any sense? That's how many of these universities have their textbooks, and they can't catch up with the change.
It all starts from just acknowledging that each of us has wisdom and skills that we can actually use as a kernel of knowledge for which to build upon. You can either use those skills outright or then research and build upon those so they become a whole system, a whole course, and it helps you and others along the way. This actually propels the whole parallel economy forward. It may not seem like it because it's just like, well, Udemy's not a parallel economy, but Udemy is just an example of a tool. You don't need Udemy or any of the platforms to get this done. It can be helpful in some ways, but when you take your knowledge and systematize it and make it very simple, you can actually deliver it in very simple ways as well. A lot of online education has been polluted by these scammy marketing tactics that make it seem like something that's not worthwhile at all, when in fact you can impact people, create profits, and help yourself and each other along the way. This propels the economy forward. The cheap marketing tactics and all that stuff that's been done, you can ignore all that. That's only a sliver of the whole online course movement. And when you move away from that and you see the impact it has for yourself and other people, it becomes much more viable. Building a community of people that you know you can help, and in the process of helping them, they help you along the way. And this builds a parallel economy where we're buying and selling from each other. By some of us going and doing this, we can basically create community along the way and a parallel economy at the same time. And the great part of it is you're making the old obsolete. There is no battle with, the institutions or anything like that. You're creating alternatives. It's totally in line with basic capitalism. It's seeing potential in a market and then responding to that. That's all this is. But the beauty of it is it also goes well beyond that, because in the process, you're taking the power away from these huge institutions which have monopolized a lot of our attention, education, and cultural behaviors on a regular basis. It's time to basically take that back. And in the process, we help ourselves and each other along the way. Small pockets. And done over time, this becomes a powerhouse that helps fuel a parallel economy. Although you don't need to use video, it's very helpful for connecting with the community and with people. And so I've got a video here that basically goes through a minimalist approach to creating video on a regular basis. And even if you're a bit introverted, it's a process that you can go through, and it actually helps you lean into your introversion instead of seeing it as a weakness. It's actually a strength, because you're leaning into also your personality, and that's what connects you to your community. So definitely check this video out here. I think the more we explore these alternatives, the better off we'll be regardless of what happens next. If this interests you, then definitely subscribe, because I'm going to be going into different ideas for helping fuel the parallel economy while helping yourself and others and developing community at the same time. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a like. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.